Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome to Monday Night Madness with G and Mark.
G'day, g'day.
I'll give a quick shout out to Stylesy, Funkin' Hungry's member. Appreciate it. And I'll go through the chat. We have Roger, we have Stylesy, and we have Sakao here. But I did come with all of your favorite little props from Monday Night Madness. We're all here. We got the Infinity Gauntlet. We got our cup of tea, sipping tea like Kermit. I'm giving you the Russian salute or whatever you call it, the Mr. Bean. And yeah, I did have to go and rustle up our little Kermit because we couldn't sip tea like Kermit without Kermit.
Got to give a bit of a shout out to Peter coming across from my channel. G'day, Roger, Stylesy, Zakao, and everyone else, and Brad coming over from my channel. G'day, Brad. Thanks for being here, mate.
Hello, Peter and Brad, and Mario is back. He's feeling a bit of funkin' frisky, supposedly. So
Mario, good on you, mate.
to say hello to the Princess Peach and Luigi for me.
So I'm up here in the shed. I'm trying to get some stuff done. You may notice my name, and that's because I was talking to G earlier. The smoke alarms in our house have been going off randomly. We're sitting there, and next thing it's just going crazy. And what we found is one of our smoke alarms, the battery needs replacing, so it was setting the others off because they're all wired in together or wirelessly connected together. Bit of a play on words. But as I mentioned before to G, I'm only here for a little bit. I'm going to turn the microphone off. I've got to go get some stuff out of the container and keep bringing it into the shed here. I'll come back in. Thanks for having me on here, G. Thanks for. I've got my two channels linked, Shed Talk and over on X that nobody watches. So, but anyway, who knows? We might get someone.
Elon Musk will probably watch it after.
I'm sure he will.
Busy right now.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll be back.
No worries, Mark. He's following it's not the yellow brick road. He's following the green ground. The green ground of mystery. Where's it lead to? But yeah, before we get the show on the road, no stand-in anytime. Rail patrons accepted. So, well, that way. That way. Choo choo. But yeah, we'll get onto this Monday night of madness. Just need to. It's always hard when you have a little bit of a crusty old booger, especially on live stream. Lucky no one's watching this. Just rub the nipples. And now we'll get back to it. So yeah, since last time that I brought out this little guy on Monday Night Madness, I've added a few more people in my Infinity Stone. So I'm gathering them. They're all. I would try and drink my tea out of this, but I don't think it will really work. But yeah, I might put my naughty hand down for a minute. And let's chew. Does Mark have a YouTube channel? Indeed, he does. I will drop his link in a little moment. Oh, you have to give me a second, unless a mod wants to do it for me. But I'm here now. If my mouse wants to work. Mark's Shed Talk is what it goes by. And boom. Oh, look at Roger. Roger's like, like the Flash. But yeah, I'll just do it anyway because I was about a minute behind. But there you go. Go check out good old Mark, Steam Train Mark, aka Mark Shed Talk. Go check him out. Obviously, he's been a co-host, but he does link his own channels now. So, excuse me. So we do have 9 on Funkin' Hungry. Appreciate you all being here. for the return of Monday Night Madness. We have 2 on Mark Shed Talk at the moment, so shout out to both of you. I believe it would be Peter and Brad. Yeah, so go show Mark some love. Basically, his channel is he's restoring a steam train. Obviously, he does lives and just other stuff. So, you know, when we do lives, we talk about all sorts of topics. You know, sometimes we talk about our hobbies or interests, but other times, you know, we're just talking about life or whatever. Myself and Mark had a bit of a chat before we jumped on. That's why we was about, you know, 10 minutes or more late. You know, sometimes we don't always get time to sort of just speak to each other for a bit. So just had a bit of a catch up ourselves and talked about what's going on. But now we'll get back to the madness. If anyone does want to join me tonight, I will share the Restream link down there. Should be able to click on that link I just shared and we can bring you up and have a chat anyway. So we'll go back to this. I did see these comments before, but so good old Shagster, good video on that on the menu Burger Bros. I appreciate that, man. Glad you enjoyed it. And you know that one did get a little bit wild, but there was a little bit of a lead up. You know, there was a bit of banter and stuff leading up to that video, so I thought I may as well just, you know, it ended up obviously being a bit of a longer video, but I feel like it flowed fairly well. You know, it wasn't necessarily, even when I was editing, it wasn't necessarily just like boring, you know, fall asleep stuff. It flowed okay. So I'm glad that people have enjoyed it and it's done pretty well. It's done okay in likes and views and people commenting and feedback. So yeah, cheers, Roger. Cheers, Roger. Roger is on the hall tonight. The ball in the hall. Funkin' Hungry and Roger the Pirate for Mark's YouTube channel. You're very welcome. As you would know, he's joined myself and Roger. Most weekends we go live together. So, you know, he's been a big part of the kind of my channels as well as his own. You know, just all of us having a chat, getting to know each other, all the rest of it. So yeah, I don't really watch the AFL, but I'm sure Paul could help you out. Oh, good old Brad is at the pub. He'll join. There you go. We might get good old Brad here soon. Good on you, Brad. 0 wins, 4 losses so far. Sounds reasonable. There. Already streamed. I streamed like last night for an hour and a half. I streamed on my hobby channel for about an hour and a half before, and the drink's already starting to get a bit low. It's the only problem when you stream by yourself. As I was saying earlier, I don't know how some people do like 24-hour streams or 12-hour streams, 10-hour streams. Like, I guess you get used to it, but just talking constantly does stuff like that, like, and just, yeah, your mouth starts getting super dry. It starts getting a little bit sore. But speaking of sore, look who I saw. We have Brad live up. How are you, Brad?
Am I there? Can you see me? I can't see me. Yeah, I can see me.
You? Oh.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Let everyone know if you can see Brad. Oh, we have a wave from Mark and a thumbs up. He's around. But yeah, Mark,
so did you used to do Monday Madness live streams, G?
Yeah, I used to, for quite a bit, I did Monday Night Madness, or basically a Monday stream. Sometimes I used to help out other people that used to stream, but, you know, we won't go there. But I did used to do a lot of Friday night as well. And and then obviously Up Late with G, a Saturday stream. So for a while, we was getting quite a lot of streams, and you know, all sorts of people would come and go, so you never kind of knew who would jump on them. But the Saturday streams have been quite consistent with myself, Roger, and Mark for a while. Obviously, other people sometimes join. But these Monday Night Madness streams, we'd get all sorts of people coming in and out for a bit.
You were talking last night. You were talking last night about a fair bit of drama that has come from that one. Call him fucking Mr. Cocoa Pops.
Oh yeah, Mr. Cocoa Pops. I mean, good stuff come from it because that's where I came across Mark and Miss Austin. From that. Hey Caitlin, how are you? Even Caitlin, knowing that Mr. Cocoa Pops, you know, that's how I met her, and you know, so speaking to him I only knew him for a little bit. I knew of him for quite some time, but I only kind of spoke and involved myself in his live streams and stuff like that. But yeah, the best thing that it's like, I guess, a lot of bad situations. Sometimes the best stuff that comes from those situations are, you know, as I say, I've met some good people from it.
You've gained relationships from it all, but at the end of the day, that's sort of how life works, right? I'm going through a bit of a similar thing. If you've seen my shorts today, I joined this guy's channel with, you know, I had full good intention. This dude was trying to lose a lot of weight, right? So I've joined his channel. I've joined his channel to watch him on his journey, and I've not had a negative experience on YouTube at all. But everything that's pulled from this one channel, it's come to sort of bite me in the ass, and I'm getting a lot of flack from this guy's channel. They're popping over onto into my comments and whatnot, and I don't wish anyone ill will, but it sort of sucks to see that. I mean, I've been on YouTube for years, and I've never had a negative experience, even with you guys. There's nothing there, but this one individual that's set himself a journey of goals comes up with sort of smart aleck replies and call-outs and threatening to sort of make videos on me. I've not sort of experienced this, and it's sort of disgusting, you know, like, but anyway, I'm sure that you're going through a sort of similar thing, but far out, you know. That's my little rant for today, so I'm sort of over it, but...
Oh, you can rant all you want. Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes people that you try to support, you know, they make you... That's why... Even though I sometimes, you know, like I've made my jokes about people that I have issues with, and like I went into last night a little bit, it is a little bit of a coping mechanism for me for different reasons. It's I try to, you know, make jokes about it because sometimes, and they're not that important to me at the end of the day, but it's just I'll take the piss a bit. But I've had someone make videos about me as well, so really I don't think you've experienced the whole of YouTube until someone makes a video talking shit about you. You know, like there was this one guy, and he wasn't even involved in any of the drama, and I'd never had issues with him. But he started making videos about me and like saying I'm a bad person and all this stuff. So in my typical fashion, I watched his videos on a live stream and took the piss out of him. Took the piss out of these videos he made, and yeah, it's crazy, really, the amount of drama. Like you said, I've been on this for years. I've wanted to do YouTube channels. I had my hobby channel, which I've done like probably, you know, about 4 years ago now. I sort of neglected it a bit when I started doing Funkin' Hungry, and Funkin' Hungry got a little bit more popular, or people was engaging with that quite a bit. But yeah, I've always been a part of the YouTube community, or watching other content creators, just always, you know, having a chat to them, or just saying, you know, I like their videos. But yeah, I guess it's like a lot of stuff in life, just drama comes from everywhere. And it was kind of funny because I didn't really expect the drama to happen, but I knew it was coming before it did. because I noticed people were treating me differently, and you know, like people that I thought I collabed with a lot of these people. I gave them the time of day. I went on their live streams. You know, I helped their channels in ways, and then you know, eventually they started treating me a little bit shady. They said I've changed, but a lot of people that still engage with me now, it's like with the old Coco Pops. Obviously, as I said, I met quite a few people from that and engaged with them. But after a while, they started telling me all this shady stuff that he did, or how he treated them when he's not on live, or you know, it's like Miss Austin was going through a lot of stuff, and she was waking up early to go on Coco Pop's live streams, and it's like she was,
So
you know,
she was putting
neglecting her
herself.
family.
So she was putting herself. Yeah.
She was because there's a different time zone, a
Yeah.
huge time zone different because she's in America.
So,
She was neglecting her family a little bit.
So she's put in investment, right? She's
Right.
invested herself to sort of engage, and it sort of turns feral. Look, it's a very similar thing to the guy that I'm talking about, and I'm not going to name any names because I really don't need to. But like, I joined his channel, and then I was telling my community to go and check him out. You know what I mean? So I was giving this dude shout-outs straight from the get-go.
Yeah.
And my motivation's a little bit different, G. I can be a little bit stubborn, right? And this is what I'm saying about motivation. I enjoy getting people across their own lines that they're sort of wanting to get themselves. Like, I'm passionate about it, but I can also be a little bit too sharp and too blunt. And that might come down as bullying. And this is what I found I was getting the flack back from his channel. If you're setting goals, I'm not going to interfere or interrupt with those goals. Everything that I'm going to do to engage with you is going to try to get you over the line. But as I said, so I've joined this guy's community and shouted his page out straight away. So I'm sure people in my audience would have gone to check this dude out. My first engagement with him turned negative, and I blew this off, and he threw out threats. He told his audience that he's going to make some videos about me. Well, go ahead. You want to be fucking articulate when you do it, because and he didn't make these videos because he's come over to my channel and to see what I'm like. Bro, if you're going to put me on roast, you want to be really bloody good. So he didn't, and we actually got along for a minute there. Yeah. But then I noticed that he was doing it with other critique in his videos, right? So, and I've gone through the comments, and none of them were actually negative. You know what I mean? None of them were negative. It's just a misinterpretation. These people are motivators, but it's his entire crew sort of ganged up on this sort of rhetoric, and then they've come over to my page. So there's been 2 fallouts, and like, I haven't had fallouts with anyone. Why all of a sudden it is this one channel? And he's set his own goals, right?
Yeah.
All of my engagement is to try to get you over that line, maybe a little bit faster than what you think, because I'm positive that our bodies can do more than what we're led to believe. You just got to push them. But now, unfortunately, I'm not saying that I wish this dude ill will, but I'm not really too worried of his own failings, right? Because I can sort of see this pandering, and if you sort of throw out some advice, you end up getting attacked. And I'm just a little bit unsure of who I'm being attacked by, because they're sort of faceless profiles with no subscribers. So what am I doing?
Could even be him on other profiles. Like, you know, you never know if it's a group of people or just one dude, because I've had people trolling me on Funkin' Hungry and stuff before. And then when I would finally, most of the time I put up with it, and when they started going on other people's comments and attacking them, it's like, I want people to feel welcome, so I, you know, block them or whatever, and then like another one would be made, and then when you can check when the profile was made, and it'd be like made that day or that day before. Yeah, and you just realize these people are just making more profiles to come and do the same shit.
Mate, and you know what, G? Another thing is, some of this spite that comes towards us, must be based on jealousy, right? I'm not going to say all of it, but why do people invest so much of their time into calling out people that sort of have a bit of a following? Why do people insist on grabbing a group's attention and turning that group against the creator? Like, not only is it sort of sociopathic, narcissistic, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're also consuming brain energy of your op, right? And that can be sort of disturbing to know that you're just doing your thing, but someone in some random part of wherever actually has a gripe with you, and they're going to invest energy into negativity to target you.
Yeah, it definitely is definitely very interesting, but very weird and unusual behavior. But I know exactly what you're talking about, because, you know, sometimes if people even get on these live streams, and I like taking the piss and having a joke. I mean, myself and you do it as well to each other and other people that are in the chat. But we do it in like a friendly banter way. But yeah, people that are taking their time to come and like cause a nuisance of themselves, it's like, we're doing this and all chatting and having a laugh and having a chat, but you're wasting your evening sitting with your phone or whatever, probably by yourself, feeling lonely. And instead of being normal and talking to us and getting along with us, you're gonna try and be a wanker about it. It's like, and what you were saying before, and what I've tried to do, and yeah, as I said, I take the piss and act like an idiot just to try to make people laugh. You know, that's why I bring like little props today, like my little Kermit that I had since a little kid, you know, just to make a fool of myself, just to make people laugh, because I don't want people, I have depression and stuff, and I don't want people to feel shit like I do sometimes, and I have done, and I've been in very bad places where I haven't been enjoying life. I don't want people to feel like that, so I do act like a complete idiot sometimes just to try to make them laugh. But also, what my point was, I've always wanted, ever since I've even started channels, anyone that comments, the only time I won't reply is if somehow I've missed the comment, and sometimes I'll go back through my videos and see if I've missed any. But I always want, especially on lives, people to feel welcome. Like even yourself, like, you know, I just want everyone to feel welcome, and I want like a safe space. So when everyone can joke and give each other shit, but when someone's coming in and actually attacking someone for the wrong reason, that's when I will, you know, give them a timeout or a block or whatever, because I want people to feel welcome coming here, and I want people to engage if they want to be in the chat, if they want to be up here like us, whatever.
I mean, you guys have a pretty tight crew. You understand banter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get in healthy conversations. And it's not hard to do, but what you're saying is, you know, banter is banter. Aussies are really good at this stuff. But I think we're, you know, and I'm not going to say anyone in regards to, you know, this group, but banter's sort of a dying art, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely with the whole don't speak your mind, and don't be, you know, like you can't be.
You've got to be very PC, don't you? You need to be very PC, or there's a cancel culture committee coming after you, and that's what I got today. I was told that I was on thin ice. It's like, bro, I can cope with thin ice pretty well, but like, who's actually threatening me?
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that I unsubbed from that person, and then I kept. There was this wave of continuous sort of comments hitting all my channels. So I said to him, I said, look, each comment that comes from your subscribers my way, I'm roasting you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are faithless people with no subscribers that are coming and having a dig at me. But I know that they're coming from his channel, so I'll just go after him. But I can't spend too much energy being an asshole myself, because I can be one.
So can I, but then you start realizing that you're kind of doing what you don't like that they're doing. So yeah, like you said, you don't want to put too much energy into it.
I've got no problem meeting someone on their level, as long as it's for not too long. And as long as the person on the other side is sort of responding well, I'll take a ton of criticism, flack, and I'll take bad attitudes, but only for so long.
Yeah.
Only for so long.
I mean, when you started joining our live streams and all that stuff, it's like, and other people have done this. I really appreciate like the mods and the people that I do have that are regularly in here, because they do make other people feel welcome. I see it. They say hello. They make someone feel welcome even if they don't know them. And like yourself, after a while, you become just a regular. And, you know, I know like a lot of people love and care about you that are in the chat right now. Like, you know, like and we send people over to your channel and all the rest of it. It's like we all want to support each other and help each other.
You guys have helped me out a lot when I'm not even really pushing my channel along, and I really didn't have any intention of it. But like your crew is really tight, and it's also unique, but it's healthy. You know what I mean? It's healthy. It's healthy dialect. Everyone gets along. We all sort of know each other. And I'm new on the scene, but I can understand you guys, how you get along pretty well. So I wouldn't want to go and interfere with that and disturb the peace. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
you know, I appreciate you guys a lot.
Well, it's like I feel like we're like a lot of us are unique. Like we're not clones and like a identical copy of each other. Like you see a lot of crews or a lot of even on YouTube or whatever, they're all the exact same person, each one, because they're trying to be the exact same. No, everyone's has a different channel, different interests. They have different personalities, characteristics, or different music tastes, or clothing and stuff. But
like
that's
a fingerprint,
them. And like,
right?
why should we give each other shit for just like little petty, unimportant stuff like what someone may be interested in music-wise or television-wise or the way they dress?
I think each channel. I think each channel is as unique as a fingerprint, right? You're never going to have a channel that's identical to another. Well, I hope not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you guys have a healthy community, and like that's what I'm all about. I don't really do negativity too well, unless there's a cause for it. But bro, this guy's got a big goal set for himself, and I think to succeed in a goal as big as his, you need the right attitude, and you also need the right subscribers. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just Anyway, like I'll sort of leave it at that. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys.
Like I'm trying to, I don't know, be more active, more fit. I'm eating better and stuff, as well as doing a Funkin' Hungry where I eat a bunch of bullshit most of the time. But I've had injury, sciatica. I've had an issue with my foot and just back issues, other stuff. But I don't really broadcast it as well. Like I could, and I have been sharing my goals a little bit. But I've never been one to be like, look at me, I'm making positive changes, because everyone should be always making positive changes, always trying to work on themselves. But a few people in the community have noticed and pointed it out, or people just saying I seem to be in a better place. But that may, you know, like Mark said it earlier when we was chatting, sometimes you have a step forward and a couple of steps back, you know. Like life's just like that. But I don't really need a pat on the back, but it is nice when people notice, because as I said, I don't sing it from the rooftops. But then when people point out, oh, you seem to be in a good place at the moment, it's like, well, yeah, I am. And it's taken a lot of different stuff to do that. It's not like one thing, but just quickly before we move on, I was gonna, I don't know if she's still on here. Caitlin's daughter's birthday today. Aria wants an official happy birthday. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I can't sing for shit, but happy birthday to you. Now we can move on.
Caitlin's daughter, is it?
It's Caitlin's daughter, yeah.
Birthdays are fun, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
I think she's 8, so you know it's that magical age still where, you know, a lot of stuff like that is very important.
My daughter's 11 going on 21.
Oh yeah, it gets like that. My sister's, so my niece she's not even 2 yet, and on my mum's birthday, which was the 26th of March, she brought round her daughter and stuff, and we all got together, and she was wearing jeans and like a jumper and stuff. I'm like, looks like, and she stole my sister's glasses and put them on. I'm like, oh look, looks like she's ready to go out for the night. She's she's gonna say, oh bye mum, and I'm going out with my friends, and it's like, you're not even 2, and she's looking like she's like 12. Yeah,
I'll be back in a minute.
No worries, man.
Thank you, Joanne. It's lovely for you to be here. Joanne's another one over in America, and it's early in the morning for her. So we do appreciate her being here, and thank you for dropping in.
Yeah, I've had a couple of chats, obviously, to Joanne. I'm pretty sure I might have called her Joan last time. I don't know, but yeah, I've had a bit of a chat to her as well on Lee's First Floor Audio's live and stuff. But quickly go through the chat and make sure if I have missed anyone. Obviously, we're not doing it on purpose. Just me and Brad got into a bit of a convo there.
Oh, that's all right. That's totally understandable. And Brad's doing the right thing. He needs to walk away and not associate himself with that person anymore.
When he's onto he's having fun with his channel. He's putting out a lot of different content, but it is enjoyable. He's an awesome bloke. Like, he has a good head on his shoulders, but he's quite knowledgeable. Like I guess a lot of us in like a lot of different topics where you can just talk to someone and not have to worry about what that you're going to butt heads. Just another very good person that's joined our little circle.
G'day, Cody. I'm doing well, mate. Thanks, and I hope you are too. Yeah, and unfortunately, with the situation with my work at the moment, I'm still doing my same job, but I'm in a different vehicle. So I'm going to get back into my truck. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe Thursday at the latest, sort of thing. And that's where I'll watch a lot of my content, because when I'm on the road, I'm listening to content from the various creators, and sometimes it works out well, and other times I just miss everything, and it's just the way it goes, unfortunately.
Yeah, like the content that I try to watch and not avoid are like people in our community, like yourself and Roger and whoever else. I try not to neglect that. But like yourself, the more podcasts or the longer videos is normally when I'm painting, and I haven't done as much lately. I've been a bit more active doing stuff. So, when I do get around to sitting here, I know I want to do more live streams when I'm painting, but sometimes it's nice to paint, put on a movie or a podcast, and just, really just lose yourself in it. Let's give a quick shout out though to Joanne. Brendan is here. Appreciate you both, and Cody. So yeah, they're all here. So yeah, it's good to see some new or old faces.
I don't know about you, but sometimes when I sit down and watch, especially I'm more of a watching sort of person. I can listen to stuff, and I do, but most of the time I want to watch what that person's doing, and I really focus on whatever they're showing, because it might be a new skill I want to learn, or just really interested in what they're doing. It's just sometimes the way it works, and there really is some good content out there, and especially if you come across a new creator, you want to try and get up to speed with what they've done. Not always.
Himself a freshie.
Yeah.
Fresh one, it looks like. Well, I know you mentioned the Wi-Fi. I know you mentioned the Wi-Fi was a while ago, and I have watched some of his stuff. But he does one of the best I've seen a few creators do this. He does some of the best promos for products and stuff that I've ever seen. On that one that I watched, the Anunnaki one, he was doing Audible, but he was like saying how Hecklefish went missing, and then he said, I'll double the pay if you keep him, and all this stuff. But it was very well filmed and edited and like the production value. And as I said, I've seen other people do a little bit similar. But yeah, that's some of the best I've seen, and I've seen him do a few different ones. And it's like, instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, this clippers, you can shave your nuts with," like, I've got the code at the bottom for you. Like, he's doing like a huge, like almost a short film within his content about it. And I hope to eventually, if I'd ever get to that, like, not saying to be a huge content creator, but I want to do entertaining stuff that's not just the same boring shit. So yeah, he is a very good content creator, and yeah, there is some amazing ones out there. He's called the Y-Files. So he talks about all different stuff, like like he goes into aliens, UFOs, all sorts of stuff.
I know him. Mark was sort of sharing some of his stuff on Anunnaki the other day. Yeah, I've actually gone through some of that. I'm probably a bit of a fan of channels like that myself. Like one of my problems with a modern religion is the Anunnaki. Like, it's quite a big story, and there's a lot of stuff around the world that's sort of around that time that we're starting to sort of find now. Incredibly interesting stories in comparison to modern religions.
Yeah. Like, modern religion was like Christianity, like, if you're a witch or anyone that's outside of the norm, it's like, burn them. And try to make everyone brainwashed and be the same. Like, no offense to any Christians, but I'm just using it as a bit of an example,
Well, I'll tell you right now, G, there are still witch hunters in the Christian faith on earth at this very present time. So Christianity is not exclusive or unique around the globe. It has some manifestations. And there is a place just near Australia where they still hunt witches to this very day.
Yeah, which is just ridiculous. Like, a lot of witches are just into nature and into...
It's certainly not ridiculous to them, though. They are super passionate about certain situations.
I mean, they're still racist now. Like, KKK is not as big as it used to be, but again, it's more underground now. Like, you'd still get those cults or those followings, and it's just you don't like someone because they look a little bit different than you, but at the end of the day, they still have 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, 2 ears, 2 hands, like arms and legs, and just because they might be a different color or have a different faith or their culture's different, you're going to hate someone for it. That's just ridiculous. But there are still people out there that hate someone that they haven't even spoke to or don't even know, just because of the way they've been brainwashed.
I myself was raised atheist via an Irish Catholic mother. Yeah, so my mother grew up in St Kilda down in Melbourne during the 60s, and she raised me with zero religion. There was no Bible in the house. I've never even been in a church. I've never stood foot in a church still to this day. But that's not out of anything against religion. It's just I was raised without religion. And then naturally, when I sort of left home and sort of became my own adult, I naturally went down the path of sort of looking into religions, but I couldn't focus on one, right? So I had to sort of take it all in, because Abrahamic faith was sort of everywhere. So I had to learn bits and pieces about the entire lot, and then I ended up all the way back at Anunnaki. So as far as I know, there's no older story than Anunnaki. It's the oldest that we can recall upon.
Because Sumerians are like, one of the basically the oldest that we know of culture. And they had the Sumerian tablets and...
you had the Emerald tablets, you had Sumerian tablets. That sort of, Sumerian sort of comes off the back of Anunnaki. It's all very intertwined. And then sort of once that disappeared, however you want to look at it, something certainly changed within us, whether you want to consider it dumbed down or an intelligence has left us or whatnot. We're trying to get back to it. But the way that I sort of look at it is there was an incredible level of intelligence back many thousands of years ago, and I don't know if we get back to that.
Oh, well, definitely, we're definitely, yeah, like going in the opposite direction. Really,
Yeah, we sure are.
Yeah, it seems like humanities or humans or whatever you want to say, maybe even different beings have like built what we kind of have civilization, and that then for different reasons has collapsed and then it's rebuilt, collapsed. Seems like it's being repeated, and yeah, some of those. Well, it's like the pyramids. There's still a lot of different opinions about the pyramids. It's like, oh, was it a bunch of people with a chisel and a hammer and pulling those along on their back that did it? Like, that's why it's funny, like people with school, like the stuff they teach in school, when you get a bit older or you look into stuff more yourself, it's just laughable what stuff they try to teach and make us believe. And obviously it is a form of brainwashing in itself, because like we're it's kind of just as bad as I know kids might be watching, but yeah, Santa Claus and Easter Bunny and stuff, it's like just a lot of these fairy tales, but they're teaching it in school and saying it's history and how humans have developed. But then when you look into it yourself, and you have a brain in between your ears, so you're telling me that a few like slaves that probably was quite weak because they only drank water and had a little mouthful of bread each day, that they was able to like make these great pyramids that were like are perfectly carved out of limestone and stuff. Is like, just you're gonna say that's history to us?
And more, and they're aligned to the stars. Their accuracy is just
there's many things around the globe that are aligned to stars, and the way that I see the Egyptian pyramids, right, and we're virtually talking about 7 of them, but there are literally hundreds of them, and they're also in India, Sri Lanka. Some of these things you wouldn't even recognise as a pyramid, because they're so dilapidated. But like Giza and those pyramids and the Sphinx and stuff like that, as far as I know, right, is the Egyptians and the dynastic Egyptians, so all of the dynasties, they actually come to that land that was already sort of built. So a civilization was already there and had done something, and the Egyptians had come in after and had built stuff around it, that sort of graffitied, they'd taken it for their own, which is understandable because we actually do that. But the Egyptians certainly didn't go to war with whoever was on the land before. Whoever was on the land before has gone. They are no longer here. And the Egyptians cannot replicate, and we, for that matter, in this day and age, cannot replicate what was going on in that area. We, to this day, cannot cut 1,000-piece, one cut piece out of a rock. We can't do that in this day and age. We have to smash the rock down into fragments and then build a wall, which is much weaker than the rock itself, right? So, for even in Cleopatra's time, for someone to come up and say that they were cutting 1,000-ton rock in one cut, that wasn't happening. It's before that. So maybe I've gone down a rabbit hole too far, but I've looked into Sumerian and the Anunnaki stuff. Like for years, I've been sort of getting into this stuff, and everything in Egypt is not what it seems. And I learned ancient history on Egypt in school, and it's laughable. It's laughable. And I probably got A's and B's for that, right? I wouldn't deserve an A and B for the exact same work if I was to do it now.
Yeah,
and then
I'd give you an A and a B, maybe even an A plus.
If you think outside of the mainstream narrative, you're just going to get cancelled. So these authors and these geologists and these guys in universities, they get a status to the point where they can write a book on the subject that they're a professional in, right? But even after 10 years, some of these authors have to discredit their own goddamn books, and they're not going to be happy when they have to do that. They will fight tooth and goddamn nail to still stay relevant.
Yeah,
even though everything presented means that their material is no longer relevant. Your book 20 years ago it's literally useless paper. And then there'll be another professional that comes into the scene, 22 years old, a professor in whatever. They get to write their book, right? And they get to spread that out to the mainstream knowledge or academia as gospel, and everyone buys it for another 10 years, and then something else pops up. And, so a lot of these guys that were writing on Egypt wouldn't really want you guys knowing what is really going on. So, the Minister for Antiquities in Egypt, right, who's got the main say and who lets people come to these sites and sort of doesn't let other people into certain sites, he's screening everyone coming in. And he is locking certain people out to keep the narrative locked down to what he has gone and told everyone, right? So, and the mainstream see him as the guy of antiquities. They see him as the pinnacle of knowledge in that area. And nearly everything I've heard this guy say is a little bit laughable. And I'm not saying that everything that Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson say and the guy from Uncharted X, I'm not saying that everything that they are saying is, but they certainly opened my mind up more than what that antiquities minister of Egypt about.
Yeah, same with me. People like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, they're not saying this is the case. They're suggesting that this is where the evidence has led them, because they've gone to these places, they've talked to people in these places who've been there for a long time, and you can't.
Graham Hancock landed a Netflix special, right? And as soon as it aired, he copped a lot of flack. They've tried to cancel him. I don't think you can cancel someone as grand as that, and especially you're going to have Randall Carlson come on. He's a geologist. So I actually watch Cosmographica every time that they come out with something. I've been following these guys for years. I love their work. And I can tell you right now, I don't love the work of that antiquities guy in Egypt, because he's discrediting everyone. He's trying to kick these people out. He doesn't even let them sort of come into certain sites. So it would be good to get him out of the way, right?
Well,
I think so.
Yeah, maybe not out the way, still have him there, but just not let him have as much control as what he's got.
Well, maybe he's been there. Maybe he's been there for too long, and maybe he's cancelled people out of their own career paths. You know what I mean? Like, maybe people were interested in coming into this sort of area of academia, and they meet his resistance, and then might sort of banned elsewhere. I mean, I think he's had his hand in the pot for too long, and I don't think it should be all down to one person. Like,
no,
it should be a committee.
Often, I understand what you're saying, and that often happens. I'm involved with a group where that has happened over a number of years. The person who's got into a leadership role started out great, but
took over.
They've just been there too long, and
muddies up the water, right? Muddies up the water.
Muddies up the water, and because he's been there so long, whatever he says, he's got a bunch of yes men around him, and
like I find all of that stuff incredibly interesting. The Anunnaki Galactic War, bro. If you look at, even if you look on Google Earth, it looks like an epic amount of destruction happened in sort of one location, and I mean catastrophic, or like beyond what Graham Hancock has said. There's stories of intergalactic wars. Mate, there's a part of Earth that looks like it was struck by something. I'm not going to call it what it is, but when they go back to Dryas, younger Dryas and whatnot, that level of destruction, it's scarred all across the globe.
Yeah.
And we know that it happened very quickly, and we know that civilizations could not have survived a blow like that. Whether it was, you know, whatever had caused it, I mean, they're pretty positive that it was an impact. But any way you want to look at it, you go back to that Anunnaki story, and the devastation is there, right? We can see it all around the globe.
Yeah.
And I think some of these sciences are starting to catch up.
Yeah, they, as you say, they dig their heels in and they resist change because, you know, we're the academics. We know better than everyone, but you got to look at the guys. You know, not all of these guys in academia have been to the places that, you know, some of these other people have been to.
Yeah, correct. To be in academia and to get to that level of status, and as you said, some of these guys have not even been to these locations, and like Graham Hancock, he's a journalist.
Yeah,
I'd say that he's a bit beyond a journalist now. Like, I think his status has gone beyond journalism.
Yeah,
but that's where we started.
Yeah.
Journalism got into all these locations where he's spending his own money to sort of investigate, and people don't like what he's found, right? Like, so they'll move to discredit the journalist that has been doing this for 40 years. Yeah. And there's plenty of people around the globe that are sort of siding with this. They're sort of siding with it. There are these unified sites around the world. They're all active at the same time. There's similarities dotted around everywhere. There's at least, 8, 9, 10 locations where you'd think that civilizations didn't cross paths, but they did.
Yes,
they did. Yeah. They're moving stuff all around the world incredibly quickly. Like it's hard for us to even fathom what they're doing. So we literally say that it wasn't being done.
Well, they may not have been doing in the volumes that we do it today, but they, and don't forget, if you go back, even 10,000, 15, 20,000 years ago, the lay of the land was totally different. The oceans were a lot lower down in terms of water level.
It's like 100 feet change in sea level.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy.
And
Sorry, guys. I'm going to wrap it up down here, and then I'm going to jump back on upstairs. So thanks a lot. I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
No worries, Mark.
See you, boys.
I'm good.
See you, mate.
Yeah, continue. You don't have to stop. I'm enjoying listening to it.
Well, where was I? I can sort of go everywhere.
As I said, I've shared your link in the chat. I know your channel's not necessarily about this stuff, but go check out Brad's channel. I'm happy to just keep on listening. You was talking about the different sites and who has control over them, and I definitely agree that there's a lot of control going on. That even people that have dedicated their lives to studying and educating themselves about these different topics are being kind of not necessarily silenced, but they're not allowed to freely continue their work because there's all these rules and regulations, and you can do this but you can't do that, and that's most likely for a reason, because these people are so intelligent and so educated in these areas that they may be able to prove the different than what we're told in history and stuff, like we were saying before. If they're going to be able to prove, like, the government or the schooling system or whatever, do they really want to go back and have to change all their books and actually start telling us the truth instead of just leading us down the garden path? And and then people become adults and they don't know what to believe. Some people believe a religion or a certain topic too much, and then other people won't believe none of it because they don't know what's real or what's not, and everyone's just so confused. It's like, why not just tell us really what's happening? And there's plenty of people that do know more than us of how this planet has been and what happens.
But they might be sitting in a prison or being cancel cultured or called racist. Graham Hancock was called racist, and his wife's Asian. So, you know, and he's actually spent most of his life traveling around the globe meeting different cultures. So, I mean, it's not surprising that the main attack that Graham Hancock got was racist. It's sort of the go-to card for the left's argument. That's the first thing they'll throw at you to discredit you. They'll just label you a racist, and it's hard to come back from that because
it is. But you know why they're doing that as well? Because the media loves to try to destroy someone that's doing something good for humanity.
Yep.
It's like, you know, I've spoken about Cat Williams before. It's like Cat Williams talks about the Illuminati and the dark industry that's within entertainment, and people like that don't want to join and bow down and be a part of that negative bullshit. They're obviously going to be called crazy. They're on drugs. They're racist. They're this, they're that, or what? Just so people are like, oh, that's a bad person. Anyone with a brain or anyone that can think for themselves and see shit for what it really is understands that the media does that to people who don't play nice.
The same people that will sit there and hit them with the crazy label are also the same ones that paid them off to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, they search for the popular sort of young people and they'll put them to work and they'll give them a little bag of money, but you've got to keep towing their line. The second that you don't, I mean, we can see a whole heap of celebrities that have gone down this path, and we know
Dave Chappelle, because I love Dave Chappelle and I loved his show, and obviously he walked away from the entertainment industry for maybe 10 years or something like that.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of a comparison, right? Before Dave Chappelle, one of the biggest comedians out was Eddie Murphy. And Eddie Murphy never met the demise of what Dave Chappelle did or what they're trying to do to Cat Williams, because he's actually stayed towing the line. You know, coming to America too. All of his movies, like the late 90s, he was on the payroll and he's never got off the payroll. So he's done well. But it just goes to show, Cat Williams worked alongside these guys, right? But he never went into certain roles that would have made him big bucks, like Dave Chappelle big bucks. He's even come out and said, no, I'd never cut a deal like what Dave Chappelle did. Look what they did to him, you know, like, and he only got 10% of his Netflix deal anyway. So Cat Williams is well familiar. Him and Dave Chappelle have worked the same stages. They're like, Cat Williams used to do stadium stuff, so and he still can. I admire Blake because he stayed true the entire time. But as I said, compared to Eddie Murphy, he's always towed the line. Complete different industry plant. Dave Chappelle was towing the line until he didn't, right? Like, you can't ask these guys for too much, even though they're the ones paying you. If you bite off too much than you can chew, they'll cancel you. Dave Chappelle is a pretty good person to bring up because, man, some of his shows were just deadly successful. And for him to not be able to maintain that, because you know that he's got the talent, it just goes to show how hard that cancel culture will fucking hit you in that industry. Like, Dave Chappelle's probably not going to come back from that.
I've heard that Ricky Gervais wants him and Dave Chappelle to do, you know how Ricky Gervais has done on those big award shows? You know, like he's hosted them. He's wanted him and Dave Chappelle to host them because obviously Ricky, both of them, they want to cancel them. But like you're saying, because they're so successful, and as much as these big entertainment companies don't want them to be telling the truth or telling it how it is, they know that they bring in the numbers. They know that people are going to pay to watch them because they're entertaining as fuck. So it's like, you know, like, what are they going to do? So they do, and I've loved when Ricky Gervais has done them and he's just like told it how it is. He hasn't done, like you were saying, how some people will play nice to be involved in the industry and they'll do what they're told. You know, like Kevin Hart. Hart is.
So Ricky Gervais, right, when he was doing these big award shows, He rehearsed them their way, and then when it's lights, camera, action, he went totally Ricky Gervais script, and then blew everyone out of the water when everyone's there. So that's incredibly intelligent to know that you're going to do that in advance. You're going to walk into a rehearsal and you're going to ace the rehearsal, and they're going to go, mate, great job. You're going to bang this out. And he comes on stage and just fries it.
And I reckon they probably have, I reckon a lot of these awards shows, people either know they're going to win or they have an idea, and the audience probably, it's like on these, a lot of these talk shows, they kind of have a rehearsal or they kind of know what's going to be spoke about before we see it. So that when Ricky Gervais did go fully into, you know, all that different stuff, that's why people was actually genuinely shocked. You can tell the difference from, I mean, a lot of them were actors, they're not that fucking good actors. Like, you still know a pretend shock, like, oh my God, I knew this was going to happen, but I'm shocked, to actually like, oh my God, is he doing, like, people looking around. I think it was Meryl Streep. She was one, like, she looked like she was about to like run out crying, but she's like, is this actually allowed? Is this happening? Is this, and I know she's one of, she's a huge, I believe she said in a award speech that Harvey Weinstein was a god, and he's the one that's he's one of them, and a lot of his friends obviously that are involved in abuse and all that shit. And you know, people like Tom Hanks was close to him, and Meryl Streep, and obviously if you do look into them more, you see what they're like.
None of these guys were getting on stage and talking about Harvey Weinstein without being paid to do so. So it sort of goes to show you how in it he was, because some of these guys just wouldn't have the time to actually call him out in the middle of an award show. So they've taken the money, right? Like, yeah, look, Meryl Streep, you're right. I've watched all the Ricky Gervais stuff because, like, he's a mastermind at his craft. He's really, really intelligent.
Very, very good at what he does, yeah.
So I reckon good on him, and I reckon, and as you were saying, these are award shows, right? Bro, it's all rigged. People in the music industry are actually calling out and saying you've actually got to pay your way to get into a top 10 with a chart single or whatever. So these award shows.
Just to quickly jump in, P Diddy is someone that you as well have to. He can get you an award, but you have to do all this fucked up shit to get one.
Yeah,
so like you're saying, you have to play nice, do crazy. And so a lot of time the sexual stuff isn't necessarily about them getting off. It is, but also it's so they have something over you to control you with.
100%.
So then it's like I've got this recorded, I've got it on camera. I've got you controlled if you don't want to play nice. And
a lot of the time, I'm a strong believer that some of these celebrity entourages, a federal plant will come into the entourage and literally document, exactly like an undercover police officer, like a federal agent, and they'll work, like they'll be an inside federal agent for years in this entourage, and this celebrity would have no idea that it's someone really close by that is literally making sure that you are doing some strange shit and that they're seeing it and that they're documenting it. And as soon as you want to sort of start getting a spine for yourself, they throw it all into the media and they'll have evidence usually, it's grubby as. And then
there's been films about that where, sometimes there's undercover cops, but there has been more some films that are more like you're saying, where people will infiltrate. Oh, was it Donnie Brasco? I know, again, that's more about law, but they definitely do that when it comes to, this is just a friend, and they obviously are in it for the long haul. Like, they're going to be your friend for 10 years, and then she said they're going to just have all the bullshit on you. They're going to have years of stuff they could do you over.
As you said, they'll actually appear to be your friend. So it'll be someone really close by, and they'll be the one that bring you undone. And you're actually, by the time that it all comes out in the wash, you still might not know who it was. Because the entourages are quite big. They're sort of like tennis player entourages. Like if you're a, top seed tennis player, your entourage is actually quite large. It's around 20 people, that are just there for that one person. So, and they make them feel incredibly important, you know, and that they're always pandering to them. And yeah, like Little Nas X is a sort of example where a drummer for Little Nas X came out and said that there were production staff, well, there were CEOs from a production house that was actually on site during the filming of a film clip. And this drummer said that Little Nas X was just ropeable about what these high-ups in the record industry were making him do. So I know for a cold, hard fact that Lil Nas X was doing things that he never wanted to do because his drummers come out and said it. So the drummer doesn't have as much to lose as Lil Nas X, right? So he may as well just say it as he sees it. And he says that he was watching Lil Nas X get pushed up against the wall and sort of pressed hard to, you know, to do some weird shit. Now, we all know that Lil Nas X has done some weird stuff.
He has. It's like Sam Smith. I know my mum used to be into Sam Smith. Even she doesn't really like him now, his new music and the way he is. But that's another person that went from quite a normal person to now he's just like a complete... Yeah, he's a complete Fruit Loop, and he'll do anything for attention.
Yeah, 100%. He's a 100% bend over for the industry, and they worked him hard. To be honest, G, I haven't seen someone so messed up and going along with it. Like, he is literally not saying no to anything that they throw at him. Wow, like, and I've got a young daughter, right?
Yeah.
And for me to sit there and watch this guy on screen dressed the way that he is and doing what he wants, and then I sort of say, hey, to my daughter, bro, that's not really, that's strange entertainment, you know what I mean? But the thing is society lauded this dude. Like, you wouldn't catch me dead talking bad about Sam Smith because everyone would try to cancel me. And that's the honest truth of it. They lauded over him until he went too far. I've not heard his name actually for a few months, which is good. It's a good thing, but he's still not.
It's good, but then he's probably going to pop up in the most like random, weird, you know, ritualistic bullshit.
An absolute reinvention. An absolute reinvention of whatever it is he does, because we've already seen him go pretty extreme. So we know that you can't set the bar too high for this guy because he'll just meet it. So you're right. Like, if he ever wants to be relevant to the power that he was, he is going to pull out some strange bullcrap card. Will Ferrell. So Will Ferrell's been in the SNL game movie industry for a long time. He's well known. So I've just watched stuff on him where he's talking about the trans movement and how he now understands it. And bro, you're paid to say it. There's nothing going in your life for you to literally align with this minority group. So why the fuck are you doing it? Same thing.
So when people go one way and then they quickly change direction is pretty sus to, you know, like you're saying. And also when people in like a Dwayne Johnson, I used to like The Rock when I was growing up. Now he's like just a huge sellout where he doesn't even try anymore. He's just, well, you know, he'll do anything for a bit of fame and attention.
He's literally just walking between. Kevin Hart. Yeah. Look. Dwayne Johnson's literally walking between bags of money. Look, some of his movies are absolutely ridiculous, right? Like, there's plenty of actors that have actually turned down the movies that he's always said yes to. And the thing is those movies don't seem to flop, and it's because of the person in them. So putting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a crappy movie is actually a pretty good idea, because no one he's
like the new Will Smith. He's just in every film, and he's always playing the same character, which is himself.
Yeah, he can't really make a bad hit, can he?
Yeah, he's just acting like himself, and that's acting. And what's Dwayne Johnson doing this time? You don't even need to know the character because you know what it's going to be. The same character it was the last film.
It can't be much. Yeah. You're right. And then his Oprah connection, and you know, fucking.
Oh yeah, I can't stand her. And I've said it. I've been saying it for many years. How she is. Lots of information have came out about, like even these prizes. How she's like, you win a car and stuff, and then the contract that these people sign, it's not free, but also it makes them worse financially and stuff eventually. Like that. It's just the entertainment industry is definitely not what it is. It's like, I guess, the Wizard of Oz, like, like there's big, powerful Oz, and then behind it, it's just like an insignificant, like, little peon, like just controlling the strings or whatever.
Oprah's favourite things was like the biggest thing to hit fucking worldwide television back when those things come out, and that was all marketing. It was all marketing. Oprah was getting a big bag of money for each thing she brought out to those audiences when she was pulling that off. You've probably not seen a marketing campaign as huge as what she was doing. Yeah, she was deep in it back in the 80s, that one. And she took the whole world by storm, to be honest. Like, I remember watching her and thinking fucking she was marvellous, and now that I look back at it, it's like she scammed a large part of her audience to sort of, she had a lot going on. She had a lot of messages, a lot of marketing, and look what she is now.
Yeah, isn't she like Bill Gates' bestie or something?
Mate, she's literally acting like a god, right? Yeah. They all sort of do. All of those guys, like, there's only a handful of them that are on Oprah's level, but they act like gods. You can't say that they're not buying land. We can see it. So
that's it. Just Bill Gates is another person that I just
he's always been a weirdo. He's always been a weirdo from day dot.
Yeah, it's like now all of a sudden he went from Microsoft to like diseases and vaccines and
meat, food.
Yeah, meat and farming, GMOs and stuff.
Literally, the only thing that he doesn't have his hand in is probably technology.
Well, he's already been there and done that with Microsoft and Windows and stuff. So
that's right. He may as well move on to more mattering things like sticking shit in our bodies with little needles.
He was controlling us with the technology once upon a time, and that he fulfilled that prophecy or whatever. Now he can just move on, as you said, to more important stuff like food and what's going into our bodies and vaccines.
Every time I hear Bill Gates' name, Soylent Green pops into my mind. You know the movie Soylent Green?
Yeah.
That's exactly how I fucking think of Bill Gates. Anyway, that's me ranting.
Oh, that's all right. The Monday Night Madness has been pretty mad. People who have tuned in should know what to expect.
I can't see any comments or anything because I'm in the Restream studio.
There's still, it's dropped down to 2 on Mark's channel, 3 on mine, and there's Brendan last was speaking when we was talking about Ricky Gervais. Stylesy just said Gates is a wanker. And also, speaking of wanker, no, I'm joking. We got Mark back.
I'll jump off in a minute anyway.
But that's why I did start that other channel, because some people go, "Oh, Funkin' Hungry's live. He does food reviews," and then they come on seeing us ranting about Bill. No worries. See us ranting about Bill Gates, like what the hell's going on? But this is stuff I'm quite passionate about as well, and it's good to hear other people. Don't go for it. Don't worry about rants. People are used to me. Well, probably not used to me, but
yeah, I can see the comments now. Yep.
Yeah, I know a lot of people can't handle some of this talking. I like this talk. It is pretty full on, but it is what is happening around the world. I mean, people can stop us if they disagree with us, and they can tell us why they disagree, though. But if it's just like I want to cover my ears because this is too much for me and I can't can't stand it, then by all means they can obviously tune out, which some people probably have. But
I think once
if
I
people
started,
do want to disagree, or if they want to agree, it's like share why.
when I sort of started going, oh, what can you call it? Offline from the mainstream narrative, I thought I was fucking nuts. I thought I was losing my mind. But as it sort of filtered in and calmed down, it's like I just felt like, well, I'm not a part of the mass hysteria or psychosis that's going on. I'm a little bit more skeptical to what's being presented to me, and then go on to challenge it. So there was this period of time where I actually thought I was losing my mind because I wasn't thinking like everyone else. My opinions weren't matching, and it's sort of that's.
Do you know what I think that is, or my interpretation? Because I've felt that as well. I feel like it's what some people might call a psychic awakening, because like you get this overload of information coming through, and it's like you start seeing the world for what it really is, and you're getting so much information coming in.
Yeah.
It's
like, too much.
Have you ever seen They Live, the movie?
No.
But They Live is very good. He puts on these glasses, and instead of seeing like a Coca-Cola sign, he'll see like Obey and like the marketing and the programming for what it is. So he starts wearing these glasses, and then he even starts seeing certain people, and they'd have like a zombie kind of face. And what that is he's seeing like the people that are doing this controlling, and then they started to realize he could see it. And they tried to stop him and stuff. But yeah, he would just start wearing them, and he would take it off, and like you would just see like billboards, and then he'd put them back on and see like a bay and buy, and how they say sex sells. So he'll see like the sexual subliminal messages and stuff. And, it's very good.
I also think that the big bug. Remember the big bug that just went on for a couple of years? I think that put a line in the sand for a lot of people. Like that line went down through all of our Western governments, where you sort of had to pick and choose your alliance, and most people sort of went with the government and whatnot, and there was a group of people that sort of fractioned off from that, and they had to learn themselves all over again. They had to learn that the people close to them you might not be able to trust. I watched family units completely dissolved because we're taking on sort of politics. We're bringing politics into our families, and politics won in many of the families that I
sometimes in families, like obviously again everyone has different opinions, so when it's such a huge issue like that, obviously people can have a different opinion, and it can cause rifts between families or relationships or friend groups and all sorts.
I've seen plenty of that go down during that time, and those relationships have not repaired. And
exactly,
I could dare say that some of these people never thought that they were politically minded. But for you to be divided against your family, you have to be politically sort of motivated. So even though some of these people saying, "Oh, I'm not politically inclined," well, you sort of made your beds and laid in them during that time, right? I'm not saying you guys, but I'm saying just in general. A lot of us made our beds and laid in them, and we're probably not going to come back from that. I know that I was violated during that time. It's just because I was probably a rebellious person in my younger years. And as soon as, the government's come up and told me to not rebel and to comply, my natural go-to was to rebel. And that's the position.
I was kind of like that as well. It's like, if you're being told to do, it's like, I'll do something if I want to off my own back. But if you're pushing me to do it, I tend to do the opposite in a way.
And then what did the narrative turn into? The narrative turned into that you're murdering your citizens because of non-compliance. And I had that projected onto me, that I was killing old people in the streets, and fucking hell. People wanted me to go to jail, but
you'll be back in a minute.
I'll jump off in a minute. I'll wrap this up where I'm going and move on from here. I've won a bit of money tonight, so
nice one.
Made a bit of money, won a bit of money, so I can call it night. Anyway, guys, I'll jump off now and let you guys talk.
You're right, man.
You see me in the comments.
Appreciate
Oh,
it.
it's been great to have you, man. You're always welcome, and
yep, I know that. I know that. All right, see you guys.
Take care, man.
See yous.
And he's gone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, that was a little bit of madness for Monday night.
Oh, yeah. No, that was good.
Very good, yeah.
I think the other thing that Brad was alluding to, or it certainly resonated with me, was that as we get older, we start to break away from that conditioning that, we've all been, I suppose, brought up with. We go a certain way, we do a certain thing, we believe in a certain thing, and there's a lot of things that now that I look at, that I look back and go, hang on, I was either totally against this or I didn't want to know about it. And now it's like, oh, okay, righto. So as we get older and as we mature, I think we slowly, not all of us, just some of us, align ourselves slightly differently. So that's just my theory.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of it's good, some of it's bad, but we're conditioned or programmed, from a young age to, which obviously you do need a little bit of education or a little bit of guidance. But, there definitely is. And a lot of these big companies that are making toys for kids and other stuff, they're doing a little bit of the controlling, obviously, as well. And the parents are trying to raise a child and they're doing all the rest of stuff that comes with life. So they don't always have the time to sit down and make sure that everything is appropriate for a child, or, as I've said, and we were speaking about a bit before, food and stuff, if you're having a hard day at work, you just want to smash down a little bit of food to give you energy and sustenance. You don't always have time to look into what you're actually consuming. And, it's a bit of a vicious cycle, but you can understand why some people do get, a little bit caught up in all of that. And yeah, it's all a little bit crazy.
Yeah. And we all, the refined sugars that we have in our foods, or what we call foods, like if you drink soft drink, if you have it in your coffee or your tea or something like that. I mean, everything's got sugar in it, regardless. And cereals, like I haven't eaten cereal in a long time. I used to, believing that breakfast was the most important meal of the day. Well, in actual fact, that's not the case. But cereals have got a lot of sugar and a lot of salt, and that's when you break it down, that's what a lot of the food we have has. That's what it's got in it, and we consume that. Now, I'm not. I'm not saying that because I'm a complete vegetarian or anything. There's times when I just don't eat. The stuff I eat, I probably shouldn't be eating because I'm just too lazy.
And it's like just a bag of chips. It's like if you do buy a couple, that it's going to be there and it's not going to rot and stuff for quite some time. So anytime you need something quick, it's there. But obviously, again, processed food, it's got a lot of that stuff in it. But you made a good point saying about breakfast and about cereal and what is, especially in America, who has even a higher, worse chemicals in those foods that are banned elsewhere, way more sugar in their food than most countries. But what is marketed towards kids, because they have a little, like a little cartoon character on the front, so it's marketed for kids. But then, like you're saying about stuff that's full of sugar, and how they say breakfast is the most important meal. So parents are worried that they need to get food into their kid before they're at school, even if they gave them a packed lunch that's going to keep them going for the rest of the day. They better get breakfast in them. And then what happens when they have high calories and sugar? The body's had it, but then because kids' metabolism and stuff work so fast, it's going to drop because those type of foods aren't built to last. So they're going to have that sugar crash, and they're not going to be able to concentrate. Then they're not going to be able to do all this stuff. They're going to start feeling a little bit shitty and not be able to concentrate on what they need to. And then they're going to be fidgety or have all these issues, and they wonder why. And it's because, all that food isn't nutritious. It's not like raw foods that is what we should be really eating. Excuse me, high protein, and if you want some carbs, really from vegetables and stuff like that, that are sort of, going to keep you going and fueled, but you're not going to get a crash from it because your body's actually wants that stuff. It wants that protein and those different veggies and nutrients to actually get your body going.
Yeah. Well, for dinner tonight, we had like an oven baked steak or some sort of thing we brought from Woolworths. It was a brisket or whatever they call it, and it was we had it with 3 vegetables. So we had peas, carrot, and a potato, and I put a little bit of salt and pepper on a bit of pepper on the veggies, a bit of butter and salt on the potato, and it was a nice meal. Now, the instructions said to leave it in the packet, pierce it a couple of times and cook it in the packet, but we like to take it out of the packet and take the fat out because this stuff's already got enough fat in it without the extra fat that's already there. And so, and the other important thing is that our meals are not overly huge. They're well proportioned, and I think that's where a lot of us go wrong. And that might be a meal one night, but then other times we might just have something real simple, like we're feeling a bit lazy, so we might put some chips in the air fryer and just have chips and gravy. So we're not the healthiest eaters, but we don't go overboard like some people. And during the day, when I'm at work, I have morning tea and lunch, but sometimes I get the munchies and I want a packet of chips, with that plain salted chips that give you that salty flavour,
Oh, that salty flavour is very nice. And but like you were saying about butter and salt, I don't feel like salt's bad. Like a lot of these processed foods, they have like a lot of stuff in it, so it's not how they try to say, that food's full of salt. It's like, well, it's not just full of salt, it's all the other stuff as well. But like, just put in I like a bit of salt and pepper on most of my food, and it's like put in some fresh cracked salt. Like salt's like a natural sort of mineral, and it's like you were saying about butter. Like a lot of people say fat's really bad for us, but like then it's just we were sort of talking about it, myself and Brad, like there's so many different opinions these days. Like some people say red meat's bad for you, and then other people say it's good. And I mean, there's so many diets these days, the carnivore diet, and then you've obviously got vegans. So they're totally opposite, but they both swear that their diet or their really, I guess you just have to consume what makes you feel physically good. And you do know if you consume something and it makes you feel like crap, that's probably not good for you. Maybe your body can't tolerate whatever it may be.
Well, in my cup of tea, I used to be a 2 sugar person all the time. Right?
Me as well.
For a long time now, I have cut right back on the sugar in the tea. And sometimes if we're out and we have morning tea, or we might have lunch or maybe an afternoon tea for out, and we have like a small slice of cake or whatever that looks yummy, from the bakery or the eatery that we're doing. Even one of the the Sara Lee chocolate Bavarian cheesecake or whatever it is. The one we got here now, I said to my wife the other night, I said, this is very sweet. It's almost to a stage where I won't eat it. And that goes for icing sugar on stuff. Like a lot of bakeries, they like to cover their apple turnovers and cream buns and other things like that in icing sugar. And once upon a time I used to like that, but now I just find it revolting that it's just too sweet for me. I just can't handle it.
Well, this is totally off topic, but one funny thing, I had it open, so I just refreshed it just out of curiosity. I've lost one sub from Funkin' Hungry. Someone came on in. I even called it earlier on. I'm like, yeah, people come on here like, oh yeah, this dude eats food, he's live. What the hell are they talking about? Bill Gates?
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, you get that. But
yeah, honestly,
people that aren't regular on these live streams, they don't know what's going to happen. But people that are regular know what we're all like.
That takes a fair bit of. Oh, I'm up one sub. But that takes a fair bit of effort for someone to actually go and unsubscribe. They got to go to your channel, they got to find the thing and unsubscribe.
They're like, that's it. He said, Bill Gates. He's said Meryl Streep is a terrible woman. That's it. I'm gonna.
If you want your subs to go up, what you got to do is you got to go down to Sydney and stand there and watch and start videoing planes. And when Sid Squad is live, stand beside him all day and talk to him from time to time. And then,
funny enough, I went to a
before they wrap it up, get on there and get them to drop your name, and people will go over and sub to your channel. That's what.
Yeah, you have to do a bit of a sob story as well. Like, oh, my channel's about so and so. I'm not going to say it, but
that's what happened.
Really, yeah.
That's actually.
I went to a shopping center recently, and it was close to like an airport, and it just crossed my mind. I'm like, oh, there's planes going about. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do a live stream. What's Becky talking about? I see money. I ended up getting hot dogs. It was for lunch for work tomorrow. Pub put in 50, 170, and ended up spending it all again. What the hell did you spend it all again for? I guess it wasn't his money to spend. He only spent 50 technically, but
yeah.
But I remember going to a pub and the pokies, and sometimes I put in, maybe $10 in coins. I remember seeing this Asian bloke, and he was just taking out 50s and putting it in and losing it, and then going to the bank and pulling out 10 more 50s and just put it in a $50 machine, and they're just disappearing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I wish I had that much money just to waste.
But that's the act of gambling.
The little dopamine hit that they get, and unfortunately then they chase it, because when they get a big win, 5,000 or whatever, they're like, oh my god, and then they will never get that dopamine hit again.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's good when you win, but when you win, you got to walk away, put the money in your pocket, walk away.
So Becky's like, go big or go home. So I went big and went home. Fair enough, Becky. That was well said. And no, it wasn't the IKEA. It's this shopping centre called the District, and I've never gone there before. And it says all your favourite brands under one store. And I went in there, and I'm like, none of these are my favourite brand. There was just a lot of clothing stores, but lots of these sort of women ones, and then a few aimed at guys. But I'm just walked around a few times, and then just realised it was pretty average, and it was dead as well. I felt sorry for the people working in most of the stores. There was about 20 people there, and well, there's a little bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, most of the people that was there were standing around in stores talking to each other because they're working there, and there's no one to sell stuff to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just
Unfortunately, a lot of these stores are catering. They're not catering for, say, you and me. They're catering for a particular person, and most of that is, female, probably 20s, 30s, or something like that. And then you get shops like, I suppose, more focused on guys is something like Best and Less or something like that,
Yeah.
But yeah, the amount of money we spend on clothing and that sort of thing's pretty incredible, actually. And you can understand why companies want to try and get our money.
Like, I'm sure this place probably gets busy. Like, I went kind of during, lunchtime, and a lot of people, I guess, are working, so it might be more busy, like, between 6 and 8 o'clock or something. But it's like they're losing a lot of money in those quite a few hours that people aren't probably going to be attending those places.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was all a little bit crazy and just all a little bit strange.
Like you say, they probably make up for it somewhere else. And if they're a chain of some sort, they might be tied up with a few other chains, and when that sort of thing happens, they spread the love. They mix and match the love sort of thing. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, because they had a small food court and it only had about 4 different shops. Like maybe sushi, a burger place, a Mexican place, and I think they had Boost, like a place that does fresh juice or whatever. And just some of the people were standing around on their phones because the food's all like prepared, and they just have to make whatever you ask for. And they just don't know what to do because no one's there.
Yeah,
it's like I was wondering if it was a zombie apocalypse, or maybe everyone was going and watching the planes.
Yeah,
everyone was had their cameras and doing live streams.
So plane watching's, I don't know about you, but since I'm watching Sid Squad and a couple others from time to time, there's a heap of people watching planes all around the world. I found it quite
funny enough. Now I've seen some more are popping up in my suggested stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I was alluding to. Today, this towards the end of the live stream from Sid Squad, they had this young kid on, and he was down there with his father from the Gold Coast, and they had him on, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've got a YouTube channel, and I talk about planes," and they asked him how what got him interested, and he said, "Oh, I went somewhere and I saw an A380, and that sort of got me going." And he said, "Oh, I do interviews and I got a YouTube channel," and they gave out his name. He said, "Oh, I've only got 40 subs, and I think by the end of the live stream, he was over." He said, "Oh, we'll try and get you over 100 subs, and we'll send you some merch." And by the end of the live stream, I think he was probably easily up over the 150 mark, just from the people watching his interview, so to speak, on Sid Squad. And I couldn't help think that, maybe someone else we know needs to go and get himself there and on camera.
Funny enough, another person that you probably are talking about, it sounds like is planning to do that.
Right.
So maybe this individual, or any individual that may be watching even our shows to learn these tricks and practice them themselves. Certain people we thought weren't listening to our advice, but it turns out that they were in some ways, in some regards, because they listened to that, and who knows what's going to happen. But also, it's good on that bloke you were saying. You mentioned and just told us the story, but also you do have to, you could I've seen people with more subs than me but you know their watch hour is not going to be very high because they've got a few videos, and you know one video might have thousands of views and one video might have 35 or 50 views. And it's like you need to put out consistent content too if you want to do well on YouTube. You need to put out that consistent content and keep the audience coming back. Otherwise, it's all good that all of us rush over and, oh, yeah, we're all going to sub. You've got now a few hundred subs. That's not going to do anything if you don't actually push your channel and make content.
Yeah. Well, when things settle down a little bit more here at home, I'll be doing, as I mentioned before, I'll be doing a bit more regular content, but it's going to be like your modelling channel.
Yeah. I think Dave said the best comment in a while, G doesn't need no essays. well, they can happily join them, but yeah. You know.
That's the other thing why I, come and listen or participate sometimes to what you're talking about, because you're talking about subjects that I've only briefly heard about, or I haven't deep dived into it or something like that. And then you sort of hear a bit here and a bit there, and then someone like yourself, you're talking more about it, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But
yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, just getting back to what I'm going to be doing, it'll be more like your modelling channel. But my modelling is a 1-to-1 size, and that's I thought about. I probably should just make another channel, just to see.
Oh, I've got an idea. Let's all create a channel, and I'll get out. I've got. Let's make a list. I've got a pen. Let's start writing a list of you do this chat. You do your live on this day. My plonker.
Yeah.
But what is kind of funny about you're doing a hobby, but it's like I've got I don't know if really I've got it right here. But you do your work, but I do. Like I have a little saw bit that sometimes you do to. It's like this. I pinned this model to the base, so I used a little tiny hand drill to put in little tiny holes, to put in little metal rods, and did it through his feet as well. So it is a little bit similar in ways, but you're doing it on a big scale. I'm doing it on very little ones. I'm pinning like an arm to a body, and you're doing lathe work, and there's a lot more mess coming off the metals and stuff you're using than a resin model or plastic model. But you get I don't know, it's kind of satisfying. I don't know if you get it, but when you see those little bits coming off when you do lathe work and stuff, and I don't know why. I did a bit of metal and woodwork and stuff obviously at school, and a little bit of hands work, you do feel a bit of satisfaction from stuff that you've created yourself. Like that. I guess you need to be into that sort of stuff, but yeah, there's a satisfaction from. I mean, I've even done welding and stuff in my life, and it's all kind of a fun getting hands on with stuff like that. I guess I've always enjoyed using my hands, and no, Paul, I don't mean what you're probably going to say.
Yeah, but Paul's already mentioned the darn list.
I knew a couple of people would get that joke.
One thing I want to improve on, and something I haven't done in ages, is TIG welding. Now, TIG welding is, you can do really fine stuff, but you can also do big stuff with TIG welding.
I was really good at electronics and that's what's the type of welding that you use on small little circuits? It's, how you have the little piece and.
Oh, that's just soldering.
Yeah. I was really good at that, and I got really good marks. But I don't know if it was because I was actually good at it, or the teacher was extremely attractive, and I really listened to what she was saying. And then when she turned around and said I was like, like one or two of the top people in the class, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm really good at this topic, or just she taught me in a certain way that I actually wanted to listen and not do well to impress her, but like actually, it's like, oh, she's got a nice voice to listen to. She's an attractive woman, and I'm gonna do what she's saying. And if it was a different teacher, like, oh god, this old bloke is just going on and on and on. So, yeah, soldering, yeah. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny you find out your talents, and sometimes you find out your talents because an attractive woman is a part of it. They definitely catch my ears and eyes a little bit. Like but yeah, it's all.
Well, it's whatever works for you. I mean, a hobby's not there for everyone. But it can be something that people get enjoyment out of, and I just want to get back working on the steamroller. This, and I'm certainly trying to do that. But there's other priorities at the moment that I've got to. Thanks for that. There's other priorities that I've got to sort out first before I can go working on the steamroller, because otherwise things are just going to drag on. But when I do get working on the steamroller, I'm definitely going to be talking and showing what I'm doing. I know I mentioned before that I probably wasn't going to do pre-recorded stuff, but I think some pre-recorded stuff might be the way to go. So.
Even if you do live streams and they turn out to be quite, successful or whatever, you could even try and take a chunk of that and then just turn that into a short 10, 20-minute video.
Yeah. I think even though the computer up the shed does a good job, I think I might have to upgrade and get something a bit new.
So what the link that Dave just shared was Van Halen "Hot for Teacher" music video. Well, what's that? But yeah, just before, just while we're talking, if anyone is listening who's not on Mark's channel, I've shared the link above to Mark's Shed Talk if you want to go check it out. It sounds like there's a lot for everyone to look forward to.
Yeah, I can't remember any of the teachers being that attractive to me.
Especially the gym, the PE teachers. A lot of them were like, bloody hell, like.
Yeah, that's the problem when you go to an all boys Christian Brothers school. I think we only had one female teacher.
Yeah.
Oh no, we had two. But yeah. Just didn't resonate with me whatsoever.
And there's nothing like being told off by an attractive teacher. You're like, I don't know if I'm, I don't know if I should be offended by this or enjoy her going off. But yeah, no. As you said, everyone learns differently, and also, I'm more the type that if you show me how to do something, it will click and it will register quicker than me reading an instruction book with stuff. So that's also, like we were talking about school and programming, or just how they try to condition everyone to kind of be zombies or robots in a way. It wasn't until I was older and went to TAFE, and even the lecturers said like, everyone does learn differently.
Yeah.
And it kind of did hit me. It's like, yeah, especially more so back in the day. I don't know exactly how it is now. I know it's a lot more digital and you're using laptops and the rest of it, but a lot of handwritten stuff, and a lot of times as well, if you're a little bit slower, or teachers will write on the board and then they will erase it all, and if you haven't got all the information in the amount of time they want you to, it's like, oh yeah, then they start doing the next stuff. And like everyone does learn differently, and school is very much, from what I experience, it's you have to learn the way they want you to learn. There's no other ways around it.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
so Dave's saying you got ripped off,
yeah.
not having an attractive teacher.
Well, we my high school days, even just school in general, didn't really float my boat. Just, you know, I was one of those odd kids out, not good at sport, just not popular, just couldn't. And I just really looking back, school wasn't for me. Well,
Yeah. It's like I was always hugely into art, and art isn't a huge element of school. And yeah, it's a lot of times in subjects I wasn't the best at, like, you know, maths or whatever. It's like I was doing little doodles in my maths books when I'm meant to be doing that anyway. Like, I'm drawing little pictures because it's what is interesting me at that time, and just little doodles and little characters, and then the teacher will see the page and like realize I'm just in my own world. So what are you doing? And getting told off and stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you know.
One good example was because of the school I went to, we had a fair amount of Italian immigrants, or children who were descendants from Italian immigrants. Yeah. So we had an Italian teacher there, and she was trying to teach, and we had to take it. We didn't have any other choice. It was Italian or nothing, you know. And you know, we had to do it, and it didn't interest me. I was more interested in learning German, but of course that wasn't the case. You know, it was, and the teacher, I think she was Italian herself, and she was trying to, you know, she was saying, trying to teach us how to say spaghetti properly, and it's spaghetti, and she was trying to tell the Italian kids how to say spaghetti, you know, and of course, right at there, you know, we're all about 12, 13 at the time. They didn't because they were embarrassed talking their native language, or
yeah.
You know, and I would have definitely would have been more interested in another language, especially German at the time. That's what I was.
Well, I'm pretty sure I've said this on a live stream before, but you do know how to make a Italian shut up, don't you?
No.
Tie the hands behind the back.
I'm going to stop talking like this then.
Yeah. I was going to say, how good was you at Italian? And if you said, you know, not very good, it's like, yeah, not very good at talking with your hands. But, yeah.
Oh. Look, G, I'm going to have to take off. I'll be
no
up
worries
at
at all.
5 o'clock in the morning again. So, but I appreciate you having me on. If you need me to hang around for a little bit longer, I can. But
well, I was going to say that I'd probably stop at the 2 hours. I feel like it's been a pretty good stream, and having Brad on was very good. And me and Brad jumped from a lot of different topics for a while. I sung Happy Birthday to Caitlin's daughter. I'm sure she probably tuned out by then because of what me and Brad was talking about. But yeah, you know.
No,
if you want to head off now, that's fine, and I can wrap it up. Or
no, look, I'll stay until you wrap it up. I just didn't want to. I didn't know how long you're going to go for. I don't want to force you to finish early if you're going to keep going. It's just
that's fine. I did think and just before you said that, I'm like, we'll probably wrap it up around the 2 hours.
Yeah.
Unless we got into a huge conversation, but then I'll have to rush off to TikTok, and you know.
Well, it's good to have all the regulars in the chat. It's also good to have a couple of new people, and it's great to have Brad on, and you know, it's good to have somebody else's perspective on different subjects too.
And it's funny, like it seems like a lot of us have, even if we do have different opinions and stuff, it seems like it's like you can talk about stuff and jump from topics without, necessarily worrying about someone might not be interested. It's just, it flows quite naturally.
Yeah.
He's another person that we can like that, and even Lee, when he's got on, good old Lee G from London. When he's got on, he's similar as well, where, like we can just talk any old, cod wallop and, like I don't know about the people in the chat. Well, apparently I lost a sub. I don't know if that was by mistake or someone's like, that's it. This is the last straw. But yeah, you get that, unfortunately. You can't win them all.
No, well, as that old saying goes, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some.
Yeah, and apparently Becky and Brad won tonight, so
good on them.
Must be luck, and maybe we're a lucky charm.
Maybe
it's the luck of the Irish. I've got a little bit of Irish in me,
Or it could be the fate of the universe. Who knows?
It could. Oh man, when I got Roger to say Dave's YouTube channel name, that was so brilliant. Zavada Doo or whatever. Oh, that was so good. Yeah, good old Roger. Yeah, we'll be wrapping it up here, guys. We've got a couple of minutes until we head off, and Mark needs to go and get his beauty sleep so he can drive his spaceship in the morning.
That's the one.
But yeah, is there anything you want to say before we head off?
No, not really. Just thanks everyone for the support and ongoing support. And things will get better. I'll start doing some streams of what's happening in my shed, and it'll be quite nerdy. It'll be quite deep dive.
We like a bit of nerdy around here.
Yeah, it'll be quite a deep dive into the steamroller side of things, and looking forward to it. But there's a lot of other work that's got to go in beforehand. Yeah,
Cody's saying he's getting a brand new laptop, so if it obviously gets here before Saturday, and he might join us for the next live stream.
Cool,
which will be good.
That'd be great.
And yeah, isn't it weird that has anyone noticed how actually clear I am?
It's looking really good, actually.
Yes.
I've purposely not have the other light on tonight. I just thought, stuff.
Yeah.
Turn in the lights on.
So this webcam is a little bit more sensitive, that you need a well-lit room. So the one that I used to use, I just had my ring lights on, but I've got ring light and the ceiling light on. Because, but so it needs to be clear to have a pretty good picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty super sexy G-banger. So yeah, so I think when I done the stream last night, I'm like, you can see my ugly face a lot more clearer now. So earlier on the crappy one, I could kind of hide in the pixels and.
That's the other reason why I thought maybe it's time to upgrade, get a new computer or even a second-hand one. Because it's more up to date for hardware and software. The camera's going to be better in it, and it'll be more versatile. Because that computer up the shed, like I said, it's mid 2011, so it's 13 years old, and it's still going strong. Don't get me wrong; it's great. Just there is a thing called OpenCore Legacy Patcher, where you can use that to upgrade older operating systems especially in the Macintosh. And I have tried that, but I didn't have success with it. And I think it's just easy.
There you go, Mark. Dave is quite knowledgeable about some stuff, so I could point him in your direction if you want. I know him on Facebook, and
okay, righto.
He was actually someone that helped me when I was picking my laptop and other stuff.
With
the budget I had, I sort of was asking his opinion on which one would be the best way to go for what I want it for, and
I probably wouldn't.
always say not Mac though.
Well, that's all I run. I've got two
no.
iMacs. I that's all I run. So it's
maybe he's joking, but maybe he's not.
Yeah. I haven't had any issues with Macs. Apple's been fantastic with their support. Stylesy, I am. I know a lot of people don't like them, but they work for me. They do everything I need to do, and their customer support. Seriously, their customer support is beats everyone else. So
there you go.
Okay,
well, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
as we spoke about before, I'm a bit more of a Samsung Windows fan, but sometimes it's not necessarily because I dislike other stuff. You just get so used to what you like about the operating systems and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, when I have used iPhones or Apple myself, I wasn't personally a big fan of them for different reasons. But it's not that I'm not one to say they're trash or whatever. It's just not for me.
Yeah. And that's fair enough. But look, I'm open to suggestions. But anyway, we'll go down that road when time comes.
All right. Well, appreciate everyone joining us tonight. It was a great stream. Shout out to Brad and obviously Mark for being my co-host tonight. It was great, and everyone in the chat. I won't go through you all, but I'll give a shout out to Becky, Dave, Stylesy, and Cody because they're all still here and active at the moment. And we'll catch you all soon. And make sure I'll have to do Roger's job. He's not here. Bloody lazy git. So go and sub to Brad Strung Out and Mark Shed Talk. I'm sure they'd appreciate you going and checking out their content. And Mark does live streams sometimes with me, and Brad's done a few live streams. But we'll catch you next time. You'll see us soon.
Bye now.
Good night, the universe, the galaxy.